Hi everyone, my name is Victor and I am one of the authors of technique.com. Today I'll be talking about log management in the Linux operating system. So, logs are very important and it's what the administrator or user would always check from time to time to be able to troubleshoot the problems on the system. And also to be able to track down events on the system, you would need to always view the logs on the system as well. So management of logs should be a very important thing, and it should be done intelligently as an administrator. So how does logging work in the Linux operating system? So there are two services that handles logging on the Linux operating system. Uh, Prior to this time, for the classic systems, it was RCSlog that was handling the logging activities on a Linux system. But for modern Linux systems, the likes of Red Hat 7, Red Hat 8, Saint OS 7 and 8, the introduction of Journal D service is also around to manage logs on the system. So there are two services that manages logs on the system. One is the Journal D service, and the other, which is this, is the RCS log service. So let's look at how Journal D service, how it works on the Linux operating system. So when the system is powered on, the first service that comes up is the systemd service, which becomes the process ID 1. So the systemd service is responsible for starting every other services on the system. So other services becomes the children services to System D, while System D becomes the parent service to other services. And System D with the system CTL tool can be used to restart a service even after a service has been started. It can be used to stop a service. This tool can be used to do some perform some activities on services on the system. While all this is going on, while D is doing all of this, System D is keeping tracks of all these events, and then it's making sure that everything is being launched to Journal D as a binary file. So whatever activity that is happening on System D, it logs all these activities to Journal D as a binary file. So if you want to check the logs, the Journal D binary file, if you want to check the logs, you can use the Journal CTL tool to check the logs on Journal D. And you can also use the systemctl tool to check the logs on Journal D. So both tools can be used to check the logs on Journal D. I, as a user, if I need to check the logs on Journal D, I can either use the journalctl tool or the systemctl tool. You would notice that when you use the systemctl tool on services, for example, to check the status of a service, you get to see some logs underneath. Yeah, let's check. Let's do that. So I'm going to check the status of the SSHD. Let's do that. So you can see the logs underneath here. So you see that the logs are gotten from these logs are gotten from journal D's binary file. This logs right here. So you can we can also let me quickly do something to let me show you something. Okay, let me do this so I can get an error. Okay, let me restart the service. All right, so you can see that I have error, so which means I need to check my logs, and the system is telling me that I should see systemctl status sshd.service to check my logs and journal ctl-xe. So like I said, we can use the journal ctl tool or the systemctl to check the logs in journal D. So if I do the systemctl status, so these logs here are gotten from journal D. If I also use the journal CTL, these logs are also gotten from journal D. In the next class, in the next video, I'm going to show you the different ways you can use journal D to get logs on the system. So now that we understand how journal D works, let's look at how RSys log service operates as well. So just as the Journal D service operates, the RSys log utility also gather log files from different services, sorts them, and put them in different paths under the /var/log directory. If you notice on rel 7 and 8, the system D handles the startup logs from the boot process and then forwards the logs to rsyslog for further processing. And then log then sorts the logs out into different directories under var/log. Under /var/log, I mean. So that's why you can see when you look at the /var/log directory, you see a lot of files on under that directory as well. You sort them out according to their types. You see the varlog messages file. You see the varlog secure file. You see the varlog mail log file. You see the varlog boot.log, and different files under this directory. So let's look at the directory as well and see what we have underneath. So I'm just going to clear my screen and then check the varlog directory. So you can see the different log files here. You can see the boot.log, you can see the messages. Yeah, this extension you see here is as a result of log rotate configuration file settings. I'll also talk about log rotation in another video, but not to go out of scope here. So let's continue with what we have under this directory. So the messages log, this file contains all syslog messages. That is all logs that are related to the entire system. So this file will capture all the system activities. I mean this one, messages file. Yeah, capture all the system activities. And then in some distributions like Debian, you see them in instead of var log messages, you see them in var syslog. And we also have the secure file. The secure file is also an important log file. So this file contains all logs that are related to security and authentication, both the successful ones and the unsuccessful logins. In distributions like Debian as well, you see them as vatlog auth.log. And we also have the mail log file. The mail log file contains everything that is related to mail logs and everything that's related to mail, sorry, and everything that is related to mail services too. And another important file we have here is the boot.log. The boot.log contains files, logs that are related to booting the system. We also have the cron file. The cron file contains all logs related to cron jobs as well, inclusive of errors or failed cron jobs. And we have the WTMP file. So this file contains all related login and logout logs. So this are the important files under backlog. So the RCS log service will just sort out these files according to their types. For example, if I look at the messages file, you can see a lot of logs. Today is 12th of April. So these are the logs that are related to the system on 12th of April. I can use the grep file to sort out the time and the date of the logs that I'm looking for or I want to see. So now that you understand how the journal D and the RSS log works, so what happens to a user this is a user. So what happens to a user if you need to get logs from the system? Because services can either log their event or their logs in journal D or in RSS log. So depending on the service, depending on the application or the developer, the service might either choose to log their logs via journal D or via our syslog. There are some services, there are some applications that would even, log their events in a different location entirely. So, which means as an administrator or a user, you can, if you need to get logs, you would either check the journal D binary file or you check the houses log, which is the /var/log, or you even check the different location where the application is logging its event to. And this can be tiring as an administrator, especially when you have a very complex and large environment that you're managing. I mean, checking all these locations to get your logs, it can be overwhelming sometimes. But the good thing is, um, you as a user or an administrator, you can configure all your logs to be logged via Journal D. So whatever logs that a service or an application is going to log, all of them would go to Journal D binary file. They can be logged via Journal D. And if you don't want, maybe you don't like Journal D, you can also decide that all your logs it should all be configured via the RCS log service. So you can choose either of the two. If RCS log is your friend, maybe Jonah is your enemy. So you just make sure that all your services are logging via the RCS log service. So another thing you should know, I mean, is that you can also have a central log server. You can configure your log files to a central log server for easier management. Yeah, so all your logs would come into a log server, especially when you have a lot of systems. I mean, in the environment, you can have a log server, and for easier log management, there are other tools as well that can manage your logs for you. Or I know of the ELK stack. Yeah, in one of the videos too, I'm going to show you how to configure the ELK stack. The E is for the Elasticsearch, L is for Logstash, and K is for Kibana. So I'll show you how to use this to manage logs in the system. We also have utilities like the log check utility for easier management of logs. We also have the log watch, and then we also have the SolarWinds log and event manager. So this is how you can intelligently, you know how to or envisage how to manage your logs on the system. So thank you for watching, and bye for now.